Trade on me, trade me home. Ow. Okay, enough of that. Welcome to the first ever edition of Trade Me, the new pro wrestling hypothetical trade scenario show. I'm Jimmy from the Q, and let's get into it. Episode 1. I took to Twitter and asked a bunch of bots this fine question, which was, if AEW and the WWE were to make a one-time trade to allow Edge, aka Adam Copeland, to be John Cena's last ever opponent, who, for one time, or what could AEW ask for in return? And I got a bunch of responses. Thank you if you responded. Thank you if you interacted with the tweet. Thank you if you follow me. Thank you if you follow Stash of Wrestling. I will then grade the best trade offers, scenarios, what have you, and give a final grade. And then, of course, we'll give my 2 cents at the end of the video. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. I really appreciate it. Been doing this content, creating pro wrestling stuff for about 4 or 5 months, and I love it. I've been passionate about wrestling since I've been in diapers. Check out Stash Club Wrestling. Yes, all that good jazz. Please do that. But that being said, let's dive into number 1. Now, this was the most liked response under my tweet. I'm pretty sure it's not a bot. Like I said, I made that bot comment. These are not bots. These are people I interact with daily about wrestling. These are all good folks. So I appreciate you if you did respond. First one comes from Shy Guy Works, and he says, Seth Rollins. Run Seth Rollins versus John Moxley one last time. So you're doing a one-time Seth Rollins versus John Moxley match for a one-time Edge John Cena match. This to me gets an A++. I can probably end the video here. I won't end the video here. That'd be crazy. But yeah, this would be cinema. An issue I can see running into is like they're both heels. But any wrestler that comes from the WWE or the Fed, if you will, on AEW soil will be the heel. Moxley is Mr. AEW, so that would just be Moxley being a face for this one-time match. I think it's fine. Then, of course, you have the Death Riders versus the Seth Riders. I know they're called Division now, but they waited so long to make a name, and people kept calling them the Seth Riders. I like the Seth Riders better. I do. Sue me. And then, of course, Moxley and crew are going over. I think any scenario where you have a WWE talent being borrowed for AEW on a one-time AEW show, the AEW talent's going over. I think that's something AEW and WWE would have to negotiate. And yeah, I think this is such a good match. There's really nothing else you can throw in for AEW. I think it's the star power of Seth Rollins, and then of course you put Seth Rollins there, but I think you're also going to get Braun Breaker. You're gonna get Bronson Reed, and even more importantly, which I don't, going back to the creation of AEW, God, I really hope and wonder if any phone calls were given to Paul Heyman upon AEW's discovery, if you will, because that would have been a game changer. And AEW's doing fine now, but still, what if, But yeah, A++, Shy Guy Works. Thank you very much. Next up comes from Anthony Bourne. He says, I think all these years later, Will and Seth would still be fun. Bayley and Mercedes would also obviously make a ton of sense. So he gave me 2 here. He gave me 2. Will and Seth. Will Ospreay, I assume, not Will Hobbs. You didn't clarify, Anthony Bourne, because you're saying Will. And there's also Will Hobbs. I know he goes by Powerhouse Hobbs, but he's still Will Hobbs. So if I'm going to assume Will Ospreay, that match would obviously be an all-timer. I think that would be good. And then Mercedes and Bayley, running that back would make a ton of sense. So maybe you're saying both of those? They would have to take Seth and Bayley? To me, that's too much. Of course, but the thing is, with this scenario, the WWE is the one desperate. Because I honestly don't see that much to gain from WWE doing this other than pleasing John Cena. Let's say, hypothetically, John Cena wanted this. And actually, right after this tweet I sent out, a few days later, I put out a thing of, hypothetical matches with what's remaining left on the year. I said Clash of Paris, Brock, because that's what I thought they were going to be doing. and then Crown Jewel Roman Reigns, Survivor Series Seth Rollins, and then it said Saturday Night's Main Event Edge. Everyone hated it. It was a failure of a tweet. It did numbers. It did good numbers. But what happened was the Wrestle Goblins saw it and had their field day with it. And if you're wondering what a Wrestle Goblin is, it's my new terminology for those wrestling fan accounts on Twitter that either have like anime or like an AEW superstar or something silly as their profile picture. And they have like 2,000, maybe 3,000 followers, but they also follow like 3,000 people. So like, are those really actual true followers that interact with tweets? No. But what happens is they're all in like group chats with other like-minded wrestling fans, and they're all like very pure wrestling fans. They love the Zack Sabre Juniors, and they love the the New Japan and all that stuff, which is great. No, not criticizing, but I didn't even say what this tweet was. I just put out, hey, John Cena's last 4 matches. This. I didn't say if it was something I wanted. I didn't say if it was something that I think was going to happen, which that was mostly what it was. It's kind of me trying to play spoiler and make a tweet that was like, oh, I seen the future. Already wrong, because Logan Paul versus John Cena has been announced for Clash of Paris or whatever. But people were really upset that I said Edge for Saturday Night's Main Event, which, like, I get it. That was the one where I was like, this is going to be the one part of this that's going to be kind of funny. People are going to not like it, whatever. Not rage bait, but also that's something I would truly want. It would. The other 3, though, are the guys that I kind of thought might make sense for John Cena in his last 4 matches. Folks didn't like that. Folks, they're, why are you doing a bunch of old guys, this and that? Why are you doing this? And like, it should be AJ Styles. Well, didn't you just say you didn't want him to face old guys? AJ Styles is pretty old, respectfully. And then also too, what about the young guys? What about the younger wrestlers? Well, John Cena last 6 or 7 years or whatever barely won any matches. He barely won anything, and he put over a lot of young talent, including Austin Theory, including Solo Sikoa, both of which did not gain a single thing, and if anything, lost a lot of momentum by beating John Cena. So yeah, you can kind of miss me with a bunch of, we should put a bunch of younger talent over. No, he just had this heel run, which in my opinion was a failure. But overall, still entertaining and fun. Give me Super Cena, like the folks were chanting at SummerSlam. Give me John Cena kicking ass, taking names for the last 4 matches. Unless you want to say he loses his last match against maybe, I think more than likely instead of Edge would be Gunther. But still, give me Super Cena, and that's my tangent. I completely got off the tracks there. Wrestle Goblins, shout out the Wrestle Goblins. No problem with the Wrestle Goblins, but spare me a little bit. Share a good tweet of mine in your group chats, and then interact with that and have that blow up. Here's a thought. Back to Anthony Bourne, though. Like I said, I think that's too much on WWE's end. So I'll say, but those matches would absolutely rock. I'm gonna go B. I'll give you a B for that because I think you're giving too much to AEW there, but that would still rule. Next up, Carter Neff. Probably what WWE wants. A one-time big match, so probably AJ Styles so he can fight Will Ospreay or Kenny Omega. Yeah, dream match. I would kind of lean more towards Will Ospreay because, again, younger talent. I think that would be a better match at this point in Kenny Omega's career. Omega versus Okada was very average, especially to their standards at All In. But I think Will Ospreay versus AJ Styles would rock. I think that's kind of an even trade, AJ Styles Edge. And so it's a one-time, big-time fight, and Will Ospreay has a ton to gain from beating AJ Styles clean on the mat, 1, 2, 3. I even think you can try to be sneaky, because AEW, I think, deserves a little bit more, not Mercedes and Seth, I'm sorry, Bayley and Seth, but, just AJ Styles. I think you can try to sneak in something else, and not a wrestler. I would like to see if they can try to get away with the rights to the name Edge. And that's the thing. I'm going back to that tangent just earlier, but when I wrote Edge in that tweet of John Cena's potential last opponents, people freaked out. Who's Edge? Adam Copeland. Yeah. Brother, I've been watching wrestling consistently since 2001, okay? That's Edge. And here's the thing, I watch AEW somewhat casually, but I do watch AEW. Used to be passionately, but very casually now. That's Edge. And don't even miss me with the fact that Edge, I think I've seen like 2 or 3 t-shirt designs of his that try to feature the name Edge in his shirt. Legendary. Like, don't tell me I didn't see that, because I did. So he should. And here's the thing, I'm on the side of WWE is some bitches for not letting Cope or Adam allow himself to call himself Edge. Because, dude, he sacrificed his neck and body and life for your company for how long, and he can't even take his name to a different company? Lame, in my opinion. But it makes sense business-wise, I guess. But, so maybe if they allow AJ Styles to go there and the name rights to Edge for Edge one time, I think AEW can pull that trade off and it'd be super worth it. Axel Bryant goes, R-Truth walking around backstage confused as hell, then walks up to Ricochet asking who all these new people and why he hasn't been booked on Raw lately. He thinks he's Adam Pearce. That's hilarious. I absolutely adore that. I don't think AEW is getting its money worth by doing that, just to have a joke. Maybe Truth has a match on Dynamite as well as this, but even then, kind of low value. I would like to see something thrown in, maybe just like the Edge naming rights, maybe even so on this, because I don't see AEW getting too much value from this. But very funny moment, hilarious moment. Axel Bryant, I think it's fair. I give this a B because it's a great moment, a great idea, but I don't think AEW is getting any value from this whatsoever. So I with respect to Anthony Bourne, I think the whole concept of giving too much, not giving enough, I have to be tough, even though this made me chuckle. Next up, we got Juicy. Bayley against Mercedes. Okay, so we seen this already, but it was partnered up with another matchup. Bayley against Mercedes. You're borrowing Bayley for one match, for sure putting over Mercedes. I wonder if we can try to put a title on Bayley to then drop to Mercedes to add to the belt collection. Imagine Mercedes as the Women's Intercontinental Champion. Ooh! That would be spicy, but that means you'd have to do some kind of match, then get it off her eventually. But man, imagine if WWE and AEW can just start working together and we create some of that magic. That'd be crazy. Of course, this Juicy did not add the whole title thing, so we're taking this for face value. Bayley, Mercedes, Edge, Cena. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. I'm going to say that is A-. A- for sure. That makes a lot of sense. Bayley, I think at this point of career, sort of, not the top star in the division by any means, but beloved. And, of course, the history with Mercedes, I think that would be a main event of all main events in AEW. Next up, Pluggo at Love Wrestling CA, Finn Balor versus Swerve. Sounds like a fun one. I'd trade Cope for Finn. That feels fair. Ooh. Finn Balor versus Swerve Strickland. Ooh. Sign me up. That sounds awesome. Swerve goes over. I think Cena goes over Edge too. I think that makes... Yeah, especially... Okay, so my scenario too with why I said that is... It hasn't been announced yet, but I'm very biased. I want Saturday night's main event in Boston, where I'm from. Right, I'm actually currently right around the corner. And Edge for Cena would mean a lot to me because at SummerSlam 2006, young Jimmy from the Q went to the Boston Garden, was chanting for John Cena all night. We get to the main event. That dastardly heel Edge retaining the WWE Championship against John Cena. I was so confused as a child. How dare they have John Cena main event SummerSlam going for the title in his hometown and lose to Edge? I wanted my money back. Even though I didn't pay for it, my parents did, but still. Finn Balor for Swerve, though, yeah, that rules. Finn a veteran, Edge even more of a veteran. Judgment Day ties. Maybe they can do like a locker room face off as they're kind of going to each show or whatever. I don't know. I think something along the lines of that, just to reference the Judgment Day, would be kind of funny or cool. But yeah, Pluggo A. I think A, not A plus, but A. think that's fair. Next up, we have MT. Would love to see them ask for Gunther for an appearance. Gunther versus Danielson. Okay, I don't think this is AEW asking for too much. But Danielson, at this point of his career versus Gunther, man, I just don't see I love Bryan Danielson. I love Gunther. Yeah, no, maybe he'll make him tap out just like Jey Uso made Gunther tap out. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I was going to say, like, at this point in Bryan Danielson's like very semi-retired career, maybe even fully retired because he hasn't come back in quite a while, besides the appearance at All In, but that wasn't a match. Trying to see him beat the Ring General at this point of his career is a little hard for me, but then again, Jey Uso just beat Gunther at Mania. Punk just beat Gunther at SummerSlam. Yeah, so why couldn't Danielson do it? Choke him out with the yes lock, the label lock, whatever. Yeah, that match was rule though, And is it fair for Gunther Edge? I would say it's a little bit uneven, but not by too much at all. And of course, WWE can't. WWE is the one offering AEW. So this will be accepted, and I think this would be A-. All right, next we have friend of the show, Ope A 3-way. This might be a reach, but maybe have Aleister Black become Malachi again for one night, run him versus Brody King with Brody winning. Yeah. I think Aleister Black would hate this. I think he would protest in the street. He didn't want anyone to go over him when he was with the company, but I don't see why he'd be against doing it for his old stablemate, his old buddy Brody King. Brody King's been hot right now. Deserves a big singles win against a WWE superstar. I'm loving this. It's a callback to their stable, House of Black. So yeah, I think sign me up. I'll give this a, just because I can see Aleister Black not wanting to do this, or maybe not putting in the effort of a good match, and also Aleister Black at this point with Edge. Yeah, I'll give this an A-. Shout out Brody King. All right, next up we have Shrimp Biscuit 420. Great name. If you're a bot, then I love you, even if you're a bot. But the Shrimp Biscuit 420, the best answer is Gunther to challenge Hanger. The impossible best pick is Punk for Punk / Kenny. Okay, so Punk versus Kenny. Okay, so he gave me two. I'm going to go with the best answer. That's what we're doing here. And he says Gunther to challenge Hanger. And I think that'd be a great victory for Hangman Adam Page in his new world title venture. A convincing victory over former world champion Gunther. So it makes sense to me why Gunther would want to challenge for a different world title. We already said Gunther for Edge, and I forget what I graded that. That was only like 45 seconds ago. I think what I say, B plus A-. Plus the whole Hanger match aspect, I didn't even think of that. I was kind of going off Gunther versus Danielson, which I'm like, Danielson, that's kind of a tough thing right now. Could he really work a super physical match with Gunther? You know who can? Adam Hangman Page. That's who can. That would rule. A-. Next up, we got Patty Pitts, the legend himself. He goes, 2 Grande Americanos and a PC prospect to be named later for Edge. That's hilarious. Only 2 of them. Well, there's 3. Well, 4 El Grandes right now. So you're kind of shorting the old AEW PC prospect though. That can be, who's a Performance Center prospect right now? Let's go. Let me try to do a quick Google of which. That PC prospect I'm going to say is Cappuccino Jones, who I'm a big fan of. So 2 Grande Americanos, which sounds like a nice coffee order, and Cappuccino Jones for Edge. Wow. Here's the thing. If this is a one-time deal, then this is terrible. This is not a good trade. But if it's like a forever trade, this might work out for sure for AEW. Cappuccino Jones will be a star. And 2 Grande Americanos, I mean, if it's Chad Gable, holy shit, that's a great trade. If it's Ludwig Kaiser, also pretty damn good. If it's Pete Dunne, sure. If it's the other guy, Tyler Bate, So, yeah. Given though, if this is just a one night thing, this is bad. So, you didn't tell me either way. Also, but I did leave the prompt for a reason. One time only. So grading it for one time only, 2 Grande Americanos and Cappuccino Jones, I'm gonna give it a C. If it's like a long term thing, I'll definitely give that like an A minus for sure. Shout out Cappuccino Jones. Next up we have El Rey Dulo, AJ and Cody, and maybe Finn. Wow, that's a lot. I think AEW would have to leverage to be greedy because of the time restrictions of Cena's final run. You hit the nail on the head. This is where I'm coming from. The WWE is the one asking. So AEW would, in theory, have the upper hand and can ask for a lot. I think asking for a lot, too, would be including the Edge name likeness. But he said AJ, Cody, and maybe Finn. So maybe just see how I feel about AJ. And then Cody, See, Cody's their biggest star. And, not true. Cody's the QB1. Cody is the man. So you would think it's too much. But I can see Cody wanting to do this. I can see Cody wanting to go back to his own old stopping grounds, the company that he helped create. Maybe AJ has a match and Cody just has an appearance, which I'm sure I can already see it now. Cody's promo. Boos. Big old boos because AEW is a bunch of jerks to Cody for some reason. Even though he helped make the company. And boos. But by the end of the promo, guess what? By the end of the promo, on their feet cheering for Cody. Oh, yeah, we love you. Come back. AEW. I can already see it. So, okay, it was AJ and Finn match, and then a Cody promo. I think that's very fair for Edge for Cena in their final run. I think it's a fair trade. I think it's very, almost they say no. But at the end of the day, if you want to make John Cena happy and have him choose his final opponent, I think you bite the bullet and let AEW have a crazy good show with an AJ Styles match, a Finn Balor match, and a Cody Rhodes promo. Not a match, because he's not putting anyone over. That trade altogether, though, given that it's a bit too much, I think, for WWE, but I think it still gets accepted, and I'll give that a B minus. I altogether, though, I think it's a fantastic scenario and something I would love to fantasy book and dream of, but the trade itself, I think WWE is kind of definitely losing, so I think B minus. All right. Next up, we have Trevor Spouse, LA Knight to go back and forth on the mic with MJF. That would be electric. And here's the thing. Both these guys are my boys. Both these guys I'm a big fan of. I got the MJF scarf. I've had it for years. LA Knight. Every Tuesday, I'm battling John, trying to convince John Moonsault, my co-host, that LA Knight's the guy, and he always rolls his eyes, somewhat jokingly, but also And both of these are my guys. But Trevor, no match? Are they gonna have a match? Because then if we just do a promo, and it's back and forth, and hey, to be honest, to look at myself in the mirror, I think MJF might eat him alive. LA Knight's a great promo, but even to the point where when he does get on the mic, whether it's a Raw or SmackDown, what he says feels real and is very passionate. It's always been as a face though, which is more difficult. But even so, when he's really fired up and passionate, LA Knight will have slip ups, and I think if LA Knight comes in here as LA Knight, gets booed out of the building because again he's a WWE guy, and you have MJF who will destroy him on the mic literally. I don't think this is worth it for WWE. I think you're gonna expose one of your biggest baby faces and to get destroyed on the mic. Don't even have a match. I mean, if you do have a match though, that would rock. MJF versus LA Knight, hell yeah, big win for MJF. But I think you're you're almost killing LA Knight a little bit. You're almost putting LA Knight through a buzzsaw just for an Edge last match. I'm gonna give this a. And these are both my guys, though, so you'd think I'd be excited for this, but I'm going to deny this. I'm going to say no. I'm looking out for my boy LA Knight. I'm going to deny this trade and then give it a D+. Not failure, because I think it would rock. I think it would rock. But I think this would be the end of LA Knight. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. All right, next up. Mick Robinson. Let Cena make an AEW appearance. Cena versus Omega at Full Gear or something. Huh. So if you're gonna borrow Edge for Cena, we like to borrow Cena. Wow. What do I think about this? Oh, John Cena in AEW for one match against Kenny Omega. When that match, I think that match would be a disaster, just because I don't see Cena going all in, no pun intended. Especially knowing that Kenny's going to be going over. Yeah, I see the benefit for AEW. You want the GOAT of wrestling to be in your company for one match. They also do have the upper hand in negotiations, because then WWE's asking AEW for Edge. Huh. I'm going to deny this trade too, unfortunately. I think if AEW were to sweeten the deal, maybe it can get done. But at that point, I don't see why AEW would do this. That's a tough one. I would love to know what y'all think about that one in the thing. I'll give it a D+, but I'm also not accepting the trade. Next up, we have Brian Huntley. It's not the typical pick, but I would love to see Xavier Woods go over to settle the Street Fighter feud against Kenny Omega in a real match. I think this would really make Kenny Omega happy. This would really make Xavier Woods and the New Day happy. I remember their kind of video game rivalry from years ago. I think AEW could get a little bit more, though, respectfully. I don't think Xavier Woods is that much of a draw. This match would definitely be a good match and definitely would coincide with the Street Fighter promotion. Yeah, I think AEW could probably ask for more. Maybe the rights of Edge. Maybe the name rights of Edge and Xavier Woods. Then I'm accepting the trade. Absolutely. I'll give this a B. Also, Xavier Woods has me blocked on Twitter, so maybe I'm biased there. I don't know. Like 10 years ago, I brought up the whole page thing in a joke, and he blocked me. Sorry. I was young. I was dumb. I'm stupid. Okay. Sorry, Xavier Woods. Okay, next up we have my boy Robert CM Punk. It only took so many responses for that to happen, huh? I would love to see the look on Tony Khan's face if, let's say, Triple H goes, Tony Khan, I want to borrow Edge for one match. And Tony Khan's like, Triple H, I would love to work with you. I'm a big fan of this. I don't have a good Tony Khan. 9 days and Dynamite. And Triple H responds with like, yeah. So if you let us get Edge for one night only, we can give you CM Punk. And the look on Tony Khan's face would be, literally priceless. It would be magic. But he's such a mark. I think he would press accept. And give me what I wanted for so long after Brawl Out, which would be Punk and FTR versus the Elite. Now, I don't know how you get there. I think Kenny and the Young Bucks I think Kenny's a face / also semi-retired / not wrestling on a weekly schedule type thing, with a lot of injuries. Rest up, Kenny. And then the Bucks, who are like shit heels who no one likes. So that would be very tough to book that in a sense of, okay, Punk coming back to AEW, he'd be nuclear heat number one. How do you make sense of the Bucks now being cheered? It's all wrestling at the end of the day. It doesn't really actually matter. But yeah, I'm gonna imagine I'm gonna have to have some common sense here and say decline. I personally would love to see it and make Punk versus Hanger maybe, or Punk. We've seen that already. Punk versus. I'd love to see another Punk versus MJF for sure. Oh, my favorite Probably my favorite AEW match of all time, CM Punk versus MJF dog collar match. So maybe run that back. I think they're 1-1, or Max is like 2-1 because of the whole he beat him twice in Chicago thing. I don't know. Run that back if you can. Survive if I let you. I'm not gonna let you. I think CM Punk gets a C minus, but I'm also declining that trade because I think AEW would decline that trade. Okay, next up we have one more. Kieran. They could ask for a one-time appearance of Roman Reigns. I like how you phrase this, appearance, because I don't think Roman Reigns would ever bestow upon AEW a match of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns barely wrestles on WWE television. So I like how you said appearance. And maybe he can interact with MJF. Maybe Hangman can he give a promo and kind of just like light him up about, you know, what it means to be in AEW versus what Roman Reigns is the embodiment of WWE. I think this makes the most sense for AEW to ask this to start off the negotiations because, yeah, let's get the biggest star possible. Like this for me, I think would be the biggest possible ratings grab AEW could do, and AEW is in a position where they can really ask WWE for anything if WWE is asking them for this. So I accept it. We're going to see the Tribal Chief on AEW television. Not a match. I think appearance was the right phrasing there. A promo, whatever. And I give this just from a business standpoint with like what AEW should be doing in a smart way to get eyeballs on the product, to get a bunch of WWE fans view into the product to AEW, which they probably wouldn't anyway. I think this makes the most sense. I'll give this a minus. A minus. All right. Now it's for my trade proposal, and if you guys don't like this, you guys can go to hell. But again, in the comments, if you watch this video, thank you for watching so much. I appreciate you. Also, let me know what you think would be the fairest trade that makes the most sense, that both sides would agree with, and would just be awesome. I personally would go Edge versus John Cena one last time. In return, you got the Edge copyrighted name, so Edge can be Edge in AEW going forward. And I think I'd go for an all-star tag team match. I think I'd go a lot of the former AEW talent. I'd go Penta, Rey Fenix, Cody Rhodes, and Punk versus Hangman, Ospreay, Swerve, and Omega. Let me know what you think about that match in the comments. Let's go. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, shout out Stash Club Wrestling. And I won't do that, actually. Have a good day.